Hello, Happiness Abounder, and welcome back. Episode 501. Can you believe it? So exciting, and a big change for me and for you as a listener. Instead of doing an episode every single day, starting from this episode forward, I will instead be creating a single episode once a week. The reason behind that change is I'd actually like to spend more time getting to know and going back and forth with you instead of speaking to you. Meaning that I have opened up a Facebook group called facebook.com/groups/happinessabounders. And that is a group where you can get access to free workbooks, including the one I'm going to be reviewing today. You can engage in a live Q&A session with me. Let's talk. Let's see what your holdups are in your happiness and see if I can help. And then also engage with a community of like-minded individuals who also garner a lot from the podcast. So if that sounds like that's up your alley, stay tuned because I will be creating a new episode every week. And I want to encourage you to join that Facebook group for the next level of engagement so you don't feel the missing from the every single day. So that said, what do we want to talk about today? I'm recording this episode on December 31st, 2019, which means that it is New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve, awesome time in all of our lives. And especially this New Year's Eve is the end of a decade. So I'm sure that a lot of you are spending some time setting resolutions, intentions, goals, whatever that may be. And I think all of that is awesome. You know, I'm a goal getter. I'm all about the goals, regardless of the new year or not. But one of the things that I think is crucial as we go into a new year and a new decade is an understanding of what our core values are. That's right. What are your values? And if you are a longtime listener of the show, you know I've talked about this maybe 3 other times. About once every 100 episodes, actually, I'm pretty sure. But the reason I bring this up so often is because it's so important to understand and to know in your head and in your heart your values. What do you stand for? What are you motivated by? What brings you joy? What is the directional focal point or points of your life? So often, I could go to someone and say, hey, so what are your values? And they wouldn't really be able to tell me. And it's so interesting because it's such a foundational piece of who we are, which also ties into one of the new directions for the podcast, which is taking a look at your identity plus vision, plus mindset, plus leadership, and having that equal happiness and your goals. Goal achievement, I should say. So as we're taking a look at your identity, a big piece of this is your values. And a big piece of resolution, intention, or goal getting is, are those in alignment with your values? Because if they're not in alignment with your values, you'll either not get them because they won't be in alignment, or you'll get them, but they'll feel like you didn't really win because they're out of alignment, which is why it's so important that we talk about values today. So that said, what am I getting at? First and foremost, if you have the chance and you would like to, go to Facebook, facebook.com/groups/happinessabounders. Join the group because in that group, I am offering a free workbook on defining your values. Now, if you've listened to previous episodes, you know the 4 questions I'm going to ask you to help you define your values. But this workbook goes next level. It's an entire workbook to help you walk through identifying what words, phrases, situations are in alignment and bring you the most joy and in alignment with the 4 questions I'm going to bring up, but also helps you hone those in and bring them down to about 5 values that really connect and align with who you are, your identity, and where you want to go, which would be your vision. Now, if we look at this with a corporate lens very quickly, most companies or departments will have a mission statement and then their values. But how often do you know the values of your company? Not very often. So how can you live those values if you don't know what they are? It's the same concept here. How can you live your values and be your most authentic and happiest self if you don't know what you stand for and you don't know what's truly important to you? So that said, let's dive right in. 4 questions I'm going to ask you today, which are actually towards the end of the actual workbook, are to help you define your values. What is non-negotiable in your life? For a lot of people, this value may be family. Family is non-negotiable. Nothing goes before it or above it. For me, what's non-negotiable, and there's so many others, like obviously all 5 of my values are non-negotiable, but the one that most resonates for me on non-negotiable that I found by asking this question is my value of integrity. It's non-negotiable. No question about it. And it really aligns truthfully to this podcast. Because if I didn't eat, sleep, and breathe what I teach here, I would be out of integrity and out of alignment. So I have to have integrity in my life. It's non-negotiable if I'm going to push forward on anything. So the first question is, what is non-negotiable in your life? The second question is, what ignites and excites you? For me, abundance ignites and excites me. Impact ignites and excites me. All of these areas, learning and growing, ignites and excites me. What gets you going? What pumps you up? And write those words down. The next question is what challenges you in a good way? So when I look at my value of growth and learning, and that's kind of a combo value, when I look at that value, it challenges me, but in an exciting and good way. Not an overwhelming and this is out of alignment and this won't work way, but in a this is awesome. I'm going to do fantastic. Bring it on. And when I accept challenges that are in alignment with my values, I feel that way. So I'm going to reverse engineer that and ask you what challenges you in a good way and what emotions or situational words surround that, and write those down. And then the last one is, what makes you smile? What brings you joy? You want values that are fun. And I don't mean fun in a non-important way, but I mean fun and makes you happy and makes you smile in a way that you could do this every single day. If your life was in complete alignment with these 5 values, you would be stoked and it would be your best life. What are those things? And again, that could be something like family. For me, that's my abundance and my impact one. So you may be wondering, I've kind of gone around my 5 values a little bit. So here's what mine are: abundance, integrity, impact, growth and learning, and oh my goodness, I forgot the last one. Ha! Well, I am human, but there are 4 right there, and I have them written down, just not in front of me. But that's all the more reason to have them written down, right? Have your values written down, keep them in front of you at all times, right? Put them on your phone. I will remember it by the end, I'm sure. But that said, you have these values in your life. They are things that are your guideposts. Oh, the last one is interdependence. I knew it would come to me. So as I look at my values as my guideposts, they help me make decisions. They help me know that I'm in alignment. So even though when you have a small brain fart and blip like I just had, they will come back to you. And you can lean on them when you need to make hard decisions. I think about a job opportunity I had 2 years ago. And in fact, it's the job I have now. When it was presented to me, when the offer was made, I ran through my values. I thought, is this in integrity with who I want to be, the direction I want to go, but also, is this company filled with integrity? Is it going to provide abundance of opportunities, abundance of money, abundance of growth? Is it going to provide growth and learning? Is it going to be a challenge, something I can step into and thoroughly enjoy? Is it a situation that will allow me to make an impact? Right? Can I have a space in this space to really step in and make an impact and have influence? Right? So as I'm going through that, in this opportunity of taking a job, I can run through my values and see if it's in alignment. Is the company in alignment? Is the job in alignment? And I in alignment if I was to step in this direction? It can really quickly help you see the pros and the cons of the job and where you'll be happiest, right? So even for big decisions or even little decisions. Every day, if you were in alignment with your values, what would your life look like? Would it not be just the most amazing thing? And who doesn't want that in this new decade, starting tomorrow, right? So I want to encourage you to define your values. So again, those questions are, what is non-negotiable in your life? What ignites and excites you? What challenges you in a good way? And what makes you smile? And I want to encourage you to write down a whole bunch of words and then go through and pick the ones that you're like, yep, that's what I stand for. That's what I'm in alignment with. And I want to encourage you to go back to most situations where you've been happiest in your life and look for the alignment with those values. Because here's the thing, once you define your values, they're highly unlikely to change. They're a core component of your identity. This isn't like, oh, my values for 2020 are A, B, and C. No. This is my values for me, for my life, are A, B, C, D, and E. And that's what makes me up. That's what excites me and ignites me. It's what challenges me. It's what makes me smile. And it's what is non-negotiable. Right? You've got to be able to identify those core values in your life. Highly unlikely that they will change. But as you're setting intentions, resolutions, or goals, do they source back to your core values? Because if they do, that is when you will be able to achieve those, because they are backed by who you are as a person, who you are as an individual. So if you're setting a goal, how does it align to your values? When I look at the goals that I set in my own life, they almost always have something to do with abundance. They almost always have something to do with integrity and who I am as a person. They have everything to do with interdependence, my ability to help and rely on other people and them rely and help me. And we all go towards similar goals. They all have opportunities to grow and to learn. And they all somehow have something to do with making an impact. If I look at creating this podcast even, not necessarily this episode, but the podcast as a whole, it thoroughly aligns with my 5 values, which is how I've been able to do it day after day up to this point for 2.5 years. Because it's not a just goal I'm putting out there because I think I should. It's a goal, an intention, a resolution that aligns deeply with who I am and my identity as a person. So if you want to get your New Year's goals, your resolutions, your intentions, whatever you want to call them, I really want to encourage you to take a step back for a second and define your values. And if you're listening to this not on New Year's Eve, totally fine. Still crucial to define your values, to know who you are, what you stand for, what's non-negotiable, what makes you smile and happy. And really, it comes down to what makes you tick. If a situation has these 5 values, you are set up for success and for happiness and joy. So at that point, you can start to shape every component of your life, your relationships, your work life, your goals, your self-care, all of those components, any component of your life, you can start to see, how does it correlate with my values? And what do I need to change so that it is in alignment? It's fascinating stuff. Really, really cool. So I have previous episodes on this. You can dive into those. They talk about defining your values. Ask those same 4 questions. But really, I want to encourage you to go to the Facebook group and get the free resource. It's 4 pages and it's me walking you through this process of taking a whole bunch of words that meet those 4 questions, a whole bunch of words that are who you are as a person, and then siloing them together and seeing if there's any core components, and then taking that again and determining what your values are, and then aligning those values with every piece of your life. So I'm going to leave you with that today. If you would like the workbook, again, it's free. Just go to facebook.com/groups/happinessabounder, happinessabounders, I should say. It's the plural. And if you are not on Facebook, shoot me a message. Let's see what we can do, right? So you can find me at happinessabound.com, Happiness Abound blog on Facebook. But again, if you don't have Facebook, then you wouldn't join the group. And happiness_abound on Instagram, also on YouTube, Twitter, and Pinterest, and all the places of all the things. But the big ones for me are Facebook and Instagram. And I would love to connect with you there. And I would love, love, love to see you in the group, because it's taking the listening to the podcast to the next level, right? It's not listening to this and going, I need to define my values, and then not doing it, right? We're going into a new year. Be the person who takes action. Because you and I both know when you take action, that's when your life changes. So take the action, define your values, and if you want additional help, by all means, please go to facebook.com/groups/happinessabounders to be able to access the free workbook so you can have a step-by-step process and guide to define your values, so then make sure that your goals and your life are in alignment and you can be happier. So again, I'm going to leave you with that today. I hope that this episode resonated with you. It's something that's super important to me, and I'm going to talk about values a lot over the next year because they are such a core piece of our identity. And our identity is the first piece of that formula. Your identity plus vision plus mindset plus leadership equals happiness. So we're going to be talking about things within those 4 areas for the rest of the year, which means we'll probably be talking about identity a lot. And of course, your values are part of that core identity. So again, don't go into 2020 not knowing your values. Know who you are, what you stand for, what makes you tick, what excites you, and then align your life so you can have that and that joy and that happiness every single day. So again, I hope that this episode resonated with you. If it did, please let me know. Join the Facebook group, or you can rate, review, and subscribe on your listening podcast platform of choice. That said, have a wonderful day. Happy New Year. Be sure to tune in next week for another great episode. And above everything else, remember, you are capable of happiness abound.